Good day, everyone. So this quick lecture will be to give you guys a quick insight lang or a quick tip when it comes to layouting your assets in a digital format with the intention or with the idea that it will be printed out. So I know that our game design Bible will be purely digital, but it's always safe to lay these things out as if it will be printed, especially since a game design Bible is usually intended as a book. So let's think of it as a book. So right here, for the sake of examples, I have imported a few pages from the artwork from Baldur's Gate. Now, this is a format that would usually appear. I'm currently using Illustrator. It's helpful to use Illustrator when it comes to layouting these types of things. But if you are more comfortable using Photoshop or InDesign, go ahead. So for my case, I'm more comfortable using Illustrator for these types of projects, so I'm sticking with this. So you can arrange your artboards in this manner. So one artboard represents one page, so to speak. But if you really think about it in a book sense, this would be the cover page, this would be the page behind the cover page, and this would be, well, the next page when you open the cover page, and so on and so forth. You can arrange it in this manner, but personally, I prefer to arrange it in this way, wherein the cover is here, next page, and then table of contents, and so on. So at least you would know what's on the left and what's on the right. A good thing about this layout as well, let me just move these out, is that if you are planning to, let's say you're going to add the last page of the book, you can I'm just duplicating the cover page just for the sake of example. And yeah, this is how you would lay out the last page. Because when you close the book, assuming that you're reading the book on a flat surface, so the cover would be on the right-hand side of your body. And when you close the book, of course, you would be looking at the back part on the left-hand side of your body. This is what we call the reader's spread. So it's for the convenience of the reader. The printer spread would be for the convenience of the printer. Now that's a different discussion entirely. I believe that is discussed in your multimedia publishing, but if not, well, they are technical details when it comes to printing. So let's start. When you lay out your book, let's look at this na lang kasi at least may content tayo. You have to consider certain things. First is the bleed. At least for the sake of discussion, you guys can see it. Yeah. First is the bleed. Next are the trim marks. Then we have the safe zone or safe area. Now the difference between these is that, let me just want to arrange them a little bit. Yeah. So the bleed are the parts of the page that takes into account any error when it comes to cutting. So for example, let's look at this page right here. I know what, I'll just work on this page na lang. Let's say this page right here. If we extend the artboard just a little bit, yan, you can say that this area out here is the bleed part. Now, just because it's the bleed doesn't mean that there would be nothing there. It would be expected that you will, let's say, anong English? Kung Bisayon pa nato, ipalapos ninyo ang inyong design if na ay bleed. Because it takes into consideration, it's possible that um, when the books are being cut, it's possible na ang cut dili siya insakto in this line. It won't be at the edge of the trim mark. May possibility mo isbog siya gamay. Now we don't really want to see a little like piece of white kanang gap next to the pages. So that's why it's encouraged to, not this one. Let's, ay, sorry. Let's just duplicate this, I guess. Yan, and then move this back. So yan, it's encouraged that you would extend any existing pattern or any repeating pattern beyond the or beyond into the bleed area or bleed zone. So that's the bleed. Usually, you don't have to consider this given that you are creating a digital output. Usually, bleeds are considered when you start printing the book. Trim marks are your boundaries, the dimensions. These are the expected perimeters or boundaries of your page. Within the trim marks, we also have our margins. So it's always safe to allocate at the very least 1 or 0.5 inch margin. So this isn't a very accurate, let's say, this isn't a 16 by 11 artboard. So yeah, let's just say that this is a safe estimate of a 0.5, at least in relation to this artboard. So this is the margin that you need to consider when creating your layouts. So you also have to apply it on the top. So these black lines, these are the margins. There are also internal margins. So let's say mga around here. So if this is the line that separates the left and the right page, then there will also be a margin here and another margin here. So you can say that, let's change the color. Let's have a light pink color here. So you can say that this is then your safe area. A safe area is the place where you can put all of the important assets without risking it to be cut off after printing or after production distribution. But once again, because this is a purely digital output, you don't have to worry that much, but it's always safe to practice considering these three things. Now, when it comes to making a book, let's just delete this. We also have to think about the spine. So we all know what the spine is. It's the thing holding all of the pages together. And what a spine usually does once you open the book is that it compresses or pinches together the middle area here. So what we can do is, first, let me just remove these middle, let's say, guides here. Now, I want to convert this into guidelines kasi medyo annoying kasi na may purely black. We can't really see what's going on sa rest of the page. So let's just select all of that. Wait, guides, let's make guides. So yan, so now you can see my guides na tayo dyan. At least it won't be as distracting as seeing a huge black bar. So the spine of your book, it really depends. It's always a safe number would be once again 0.5. Maybe you can also do like an inch. So this is just a safe estimate. I think this would be a relative inch. Let's move it to the center. You can just align it here at center. Yeah. So the reason why we have to consider this is because your margins would then adjust according to the spine. So if back then our initial, let me just change this color so that you guys can see it. If the original placement of our margins were in these locations, with consideration of the spine, it would then be adjusted here. Now you might think that, ma'am, it's probably not that big of a deal, especially since it ate up a lot of space. Actually, let's just, yeah, put them together. Yeah. But actually, this layout here is considering the spine. I'll show you guys. Hey, it's not locked in. So I'll just move these away. So let's create an example or a visual representation. So this square here, or this rectangle rather, this is our bounding box or our trim area. So we know that we have our margins. So let's add in a margin. Now let me just duplicate that. So we know this is our center. So let's add our margin there. Oh no, na yung. Let's move it there. So we know that this forward is definitely in the center or around the center. So let's create a guide. Make guide, yan. So we can assume, okay, so this means if this is our area here, then this means this is probably in the center. So let's just do a quick outline on this. Let's just color it blue, because why not? So to know if this is exactly in the center, what I would usually do is just, let's just keep the blue na lang. Let's do that. Let's color it yellow. So we know this is the safe area of the right side. Now what we can do is select both of these shapes. I'll just select the outer rectangle, the safe area, and I'll just align it center. Notice that it shifted a bit to the left. It's a very minor shift. But if to the trained eye or to someone who is very particular about centering things, about their alignment, this is a big enough change. So what we can do is, let me just undo all of that. Remember, there was a very slight change. Now you can say, or we can credit that to the spine. So once again, I messed up the layers. Let me just hide that. Okay. So the spine, given how small the adjustment was, it's probably very thin, probably around that area. So let me just turn this into a guide. And the hotkey was Control 5. Let's once again make our shapes. Let's do that, hide that. Let's put that there. Okay. Selected both, selecting the outside rectangle and clicking Align Center. Okay, I might have even overdone it. Okay, let me just. Yeah, so parang ganyan lang. Yan yung estimate size or estimated width of the spine. This red bar right here. So of course, I made a mistake here with the marker, but that's fine. So you can say that this blue box here, the forward, is well within the safe area because not only is it considerate of any adjustments done by the spine, it's also made within the margins. And we can say the same here. But what about here on top? So let's, we can't really duplicate our guides here. Medyo maarte kasi yung guides in Illustrator. So let me duplicate the spine here to move it on top. And let's also duplicate these margin guides. Yeah. Okay, so they're all centered. Let me just turn these into guides. Yeah. So we can see that the important content here is well within the safe area, as well as the smaller text down below. This is because any important text that should not be sacrificed must stay within the safe area. Same with logos. As you can see, the Larian Studios logo is barely, yeah, barely left a space for the margins, and that's fine. So even then, within this area, we can see that they are following a certain type of margin. Yeah, like roughly similar sizes naman. Now let's try and take out, or let's import a page from, let's say, a different section of the book. So I'll just move this here. Let me see if I can, okay. Okay, so let's just close those fonts. So the thing about opening PDF files is that sometimes Illustrator can edit them. So in this case, it's not really in that way. Oh, I think I broke something there. Yeah, all of its clipping masks. Yeah, so we can select now, guys, please. Don't do this. Let's respect the um private property, the intellectual property rather, of these designers. I'm just opening this just for the sake of layout. So I do not encourage this, or I do not encourage the manipulation. So yeah, let's check their margins. So yeah, I won't be changing the color just so that you guys can see it. Now, you might have noticed na matandog ang page number. So usually, page numbers are always at risk of being cut off. But given that we have to consider that these are well within the trim marks, it's probably not that big of a deal. And yeah, and usually pages are slightly like with settled within the margins. Though it would always be safer if you put them a little bit like up high. So yeah, oh, sorry. So you can see important information, it's within the safe area. Even the illustrations, they do not encroach outside of the um, safe area, except for these designs. So you can add assets that are purely decorative in nature. That's fine. If anything, that adds to the immersion of your art book. And I can commend you guys for adding that. So yan. So let's not save this. That would be very dangerous. And yan. So that is just a quick introduction lang on how to quickly lay out things for your game design Bible. If you are planning to use it in let's say if you're planning to lay out your game design Bible in Illustrator and you want to save it, if you're familiar with Illustrator, then you don't need to watch the rest of this video. But for those who don't know how to quickly export it into a PDF file, you can just click Save a Copy. And yeah, you can save it wherever you want. So let's say I want to put it here. Make sure that you will set it to Adobe PDF. I'll just put it in my desktop music na lang para it will stand out. Let's name it Adobe PDF. Let's name it blah. Now, it's usually by default use artboards. You can set a range. Now to know which pages are which, let's just cancel that. Let's go to the artboard tool. Now you can see we have 01 artboard 1, 02 artboard 2, 03 artboard 3, and etc. etc. However, if this is 1, 2, 3, this is now 8. So if we export this document, this would not go in succession or in hindi sila magsunod-sunod, so to speak. Now, if you want to adjust this, if you want to rearrange the pages together, you can go to Window. While make sure Artboard is active, by the way, so that you can see the names. Go to Window, go to Artboards, and you can see how they are arranged. So currently, what we want as our page 4 is named Artboard 1 Copy 2. So let's look for Artboard 1 Copy 2, and it's number 8 here. So let's drag that up here. Now, as we can see, 01, 02, you know what? I won't bother. Or maybe I duplicated something here. Ah, kaya pala. I've made a duplicate. So, tama pala yung nagawa ko. Nadoble ko lang yung artboard. So that's something that you also have to consider. Any duplicates, always be mindful of your artboards and what you copy paste. So, yan. So you can see It's now following finally the flow, one, two, three, and four. So once we export that, let's go to save a copy. Let's go to music so that I can delete this quick. I'll name it blah. Make sure that it's Adobe PDF, and you can click range, especially if you have scratch papers, so to speak, or like artboards that are just for decorative purposes. So let's set the range 1 to 4. If you also want to include 7, just comma 7, the usual, and let's save. Now, when you save these files, let's wait a bit. So it's encouraged. Please go to high quality print and uncheck preserve Illustrator editing capabilities if ever you are saving with Illustrator. I want you guys to submit the best quality that you can, but let's lessen the file size. So now we are looking at blah. So we know this is blah because this has um a blue rectangle. So yan, that's it. That is a crash course, I guess, for those who are not yet well versed in Illustrator on how to use it for your game design Bible. It's possible that you will create your assets in Photoshop, create your assets in Procreate, wherever it is that you guys wherever it is that you guys create your works, and then collate them all in Illustrator. Or you can also use InDesign if you want. Go ahead. So with that, if you have any questions or concerns, do feel free to contact me or Ma'am Sydney, and good luck. See you.